WowGo and Ownboard, once collaborators, now bitter rivals. Whose electric skateboard should you get? Today we're going to look at the WowGo 3 and compare it with the Ownboard W2. Without further ado, let's just jump into it. Both of these two boards use a flexy deck. I'm not actually able to compare them because after talking to several people and reading different reviews, I don't think I have the same deck on the Ownboard as everyone else. If you want to know how I came to that conclusion, I explained it in the video description. But like I said, both of them use a flexy deck, and both are made from bamboo and fiberglass. And for me, at about 70 kilograms and at the speed that I normally ride at, which is about 25 to 35 kilometers per hour, I am totally fine with the amount of flex that they have. But if you're a heavier person, like say 90 kilograms, you might want to contact the brand you want to buy from and see if they can give you a stiffer deck. The WowGo 3 uses 90mm wheels. The front wheels are pretty nice. They're basically the same wheels as those used on the current generation boosted boards. They're also using Zealous bearings, which many people love. The back wheels are hub motors with replaceable PU sleeves. The Ownboard W2 comes with 83mm wheels installed, and also a complete set of 90mm wheels. Both sets of wheels come with unbranded ceramic bearings. The W2 also comes with two sets of pulleys, one for ABEC 11 flywheels and another set for orangutan Kegels and Caguamas. Despite the WowGo 3 having front wheels that some might consider to be better, the 90mm hub motor sleeves just cannot compare with regular longboard wheels when it comes to grip and ride comfort. You get much more comfort and versatility with the wheels on the Ownboard W2. The WowGo 3 uses an authentic Paris V2 in the front, while the Ownboard W2 uses a Paris clone. Both of them use similar but different rear trucks that look and behave like Paris trucks. WowGo is using all barrel bushings from Paris, while Ownboard is using the standard cone and barrel setup. Ownboard also includes this removable rubber ring in each truck that supposedly increases stability. I don't really think there's a noticeable difference in how the authentic and clone Paris trucks behave, so I wouldn't say that one is better than the other. I like the double barrel setup on the WowGo, but you can easily do the same on the Ownboard. In fact, bushings are not really one size fits all, so most people probably should change them anyway. So for the trucks on these two boards, I rate them as about the same. Both the WowGo 3 and the Ownboard W2 use customized ESCs made by Hobbywing. They are configured differently, but like all Hobbywing ESCs, they give the user smooth and accurate control of their boards. Notice I didn't just say smooth, I said smooth and accurate. Not all ESCs give you accurate control. But anyway, both of these boards use ESCs from Hobbywing, so they're both good. The remote for the WowGo 3 has a telemetry display that includes a speedometer, an odometer, a current trip meter, a battery indicator for the board, and a battery indicator for the remote. The units of measure are metric by default, but you can also change them to imperial. The single button on the remote is multi-purpose. It lets you turn the remote on and off, change speed modes, and change between forward and reverse. The remote recharges using a USB-C cable. The remote for the Ownboard W2 is the generic one that comes with most electric skateboards that use Hobbywing's ESC. It does not have an LED display. Instead, it uses a few lights to represent how much battery is on the board. It has a power button, a speed mode button, and a switch for forward and reverse. The remote recharges using a micro USB cable. While I prefer the dedicated buttons on the Ownboard W2 remote much more than the multi-purpose button on the WowGo 3 remote, I would much rather have the remote that has the telemetry display. Some people argue that you shouldn't be looking at a display anyway when you're e-skating. I can only assume that those people also cover up the dashboard in their car. I definitely prefer WowGo's remote. WowGo 3 uses hub motors. Ownboard W2 uses belt drive motors. Hub motors are generally more quiet than belt drive on smooth roads. They're also more discreet because the motors are hidden inside the wheels. But the downside is that the PU sleeves tend to be very thin compared to normal longboard wheels. This results in reduced grip and ride comfort. With belt drive motors, you can use actual longboard wheels, and you're not stuck with the wheels that came with your board. With the Ownboard W2, you have a lot of options for third-party wheels. The downside of belt drive is that they tend to be louder, and even when they're not louder, that RC car sound grabs people's attention every single time that you ride. Hey, is that a boosted board? But given the choice of hub motors or belt drive, I would generally choose belt drive. It's just a lot more versatile and more comfortable compared to hub motors. The WowGo 3 now has two battery options, a 6Ah 10S2P using Samsung 30Q cells and an 8Ah 10S2P using Samsung 40T cells. The Ownboard W2 has one battery option, the 9Ah 10S3P using Samsung 30Q cells. They're all good. Batteries using the 30Q cells have relatively low voltage sag. Since the 40T cell has a higher discharge rate, in theory, the amount of sag should be even less. Also, the 40T battery should retain more of its capacity over the same number of cycles. So, I think they're all good. I finally learned that if I want to measure how much range a board would get, I should calculate by number of watt-hours used per unit of distance. For example, 10 watt-hours per kilometer. This number is going to vary for each person and each board, and even each ride session. But for me, my weight and how I usually ride, 10 watt-hours per kilometer is actually pretty accurate. You know, I feel stupid for not knowing this calculation earlier. It seems so obvious now, but at least now I know. Anyway, the WowGo's 6Ah battery is 216 watt-hours. So based on 10 watt-hours per kilometer, I can estimate that I would generally get around 21.6 kilometers. The 8Ah battery is 288 watt-hours. So with the same formula, I should get around 28.8 kilometers. The Ownboard's 9Ah battery is 324 watt-hours, so I should get around 32.4 kilometers. These are very rough estimates. The number of watt-hours used per kilometer for each board can vary by a lot. For example, a heavy all-terrain board would use up much more watt-hours per kilometer. But for the WowGo 3 and Ownboard W2, 10 watt-hours per kilometer is very close to what I actually got in my range tests. So even though I've never tried WowGo's 8Ah battery option, I would guesstimate pretty confidently that Ownboard's 9Ah battery would still get more range. Hey guys, I'm sorry to do this, but I gotta wrap this up because I got a plane to catch. I'm going to Thailand. Follow me on Instagram. The WowGo 3 has a little bit more torque than the Ownboard W2 with 83mm wheels. With 90mm wheels, there should be an even bigger difference. Top speed on the WowGo 3 is 39 km per hour according to their website. On the Ownboard W2, it's 42 km per hour with 83mm wheels and around 45 km per hour with 90mm wheels. The brakes on the WowGo 3 seems to be a little bit stronger than the Ownboard W2 with either side's wheels. The WowGo 3 is a little bit heavier than the Ownboard W2. I think the water resistance of the two boards are pretty similar. Either way, I wouldn't ride in the rain using these boards, and I would try to avoid getting them wet. WowGo 3 looks better. I mean, come on. The WowGo 3 is $600 or $700 depending on which battery you choose. The Ownboard W2 is $697. But if you use my discount code, the WowGo 3 becomes $570 and $670, and the Ownboard W2 becomes just $627.30. That's a really good deal. With all the info that I've given you, I hope that you're able to make your own decision about which one is better for you. As for myself, I genuinely like both of them. But if I could keep only one, I would choose the... Oh shit, my car's here. I gotta go.